Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Marissa and I make faith-based content here on YouTube. So if you like anything related to Jesus, the Bible, and Christianity, stick around. In this video, we're going to be talking about having faith in the unknown. Having faith when you can't see the next step forward, when you don't think anything is making sense, when you have no idea what is going on. We're going to be talking about how to have faith even in those circumstances, and I pray that this encourages you. So first and foremost, what is faith? Hebrews 11:1 tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not yet seen. This means that we trust in God even when things don't make sense, even when our physical eyes will look at what's physically in front of us, but we have to realign ourselves to see with our spiritual eyes to see who is in front of us, which is Jesus. John chapter 10 tells us that Jesus is our good shepherd, and any good shepherd loves, leads, and protects their sheep. And if we can see earthly shepherds taking good care of their sheep, their physical sheep, how much more Jesus to take care of us, his spiritual sheep. We can trust that even when we don't know, we don't understand what is going on, that Jesus, our good shepherd, will lead us and guide us safely to the place where he has for us. In Mark 9, Jesus tells us that though it may seem rather difficult and impossible with man, all things are possible with God. And if we just have faith and believe in Jesus, everything will be possible for us. Psalms 119 tells us that the word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. When we are having trouble seeing the step in front of us, go to the Word of God because it has all that we need in it. It gives us all the guidance, instruction, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and it points to Jesus. It points to him and his goodness, his faithfulness, his character, and his promises that he has for us. Read the word daily, remind yourself, and meditate on this word because this is what grounds us and roots us and keep us focused on him. Paul says in 2 Corinthians 5:7 to walk in faith and not by sight. Walking by sight means that you are focusing on the visible issues in front of you. You're focusing on the fact that there seems to be no visible or tangible evidence that this issue that you are hoping for to work out in your life may or may not work out. But walking by faith is focusing on Jesus despite the things going on in the background. Now I want to talk about the very well-known story in Matthew 14, where Jesus walks on water to the disciples and calls out Peter to walk to him on the water. Now, an important thing to note is that when Jesus was walking on water to these disciples who were on a boat, there was a storm and the waves were roaring and they were super big and there was so much wind and rain and it was scary. They were terrified. But Peter said, "Jesus, if this is you, call me out onto the water." So the Lord called out Peter onto the water, and Peter stepped out of the boat in faith and started to walk on the water. Now this is where it gets very important. When Peter's focus was on Jesus, he was able to walk on the water. He was able to do the impossible. But as soon as he changed his focus to focus on the storm going on around him, he began to sink. Now, even though he began to sink, Jesus reached out his arm and pulled him out of the waters, and so he'll do the same with us. When we step out in faith and take a leap of faith out of the boat, out of safety, out of our comfort, into the raging sea where we have no clue what's going to happen to us if we do so, keep our focus on Jesus because like we mentioned before, he's our good shepherd and he will lead us to where we need to go safely. If we do look at the storm in doubt, the Lord is so merciful and kind and loving that he will still be right there to pick us up and pull us out of our doubts, to pull us out of our fears, to pull us out of our worries. Just like Jesus didn't leave Peter as soon as he sunk, the same thing for the Lord with us. He will not leave us nor forsake us. Having faith, particularly in Jesus, is such a beautiful thing because if we knew everything that the Lord was currently doing and was going to do, then we'd have no need for faith. Having faith in Jesus allows and leads us to having full humility and complete surrender, acknowledging that we don't have everything under control. Us human beings don't have the ability to control everything in this world, but we can trust in the one who does. God takes care of everything in this world. He rises the sun, he sets the sun, he rises the moon, he takes care of the fish of the sea and the birds of the air. He takes care of everything, even the little things that we don't think about. So how much more will he not take care of us who are far more valuable than the little birdies of the air? Well, I hope this encouraged you guys to have faith in the unknown and that this reminded you to keep your mind steady on Jesus, reading the word and meditating on it, and to not look at the storm. And even if you do look at the storm, Jesus is so good and faithful, and he will pull you up out of your fears and your doubts and stand you on solid ground. God bless you all in Jesus' mighty name, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.